Hi, welcome to another episode of Quilter's Vibe. We're all running a little bit late for October's episode. Sometimes it just happens, and there was the cat lovers hop that just finished that week, and it was crazy. While we're on the subject of cats though, that is going to be the subject of this episode of Quilter's Vibe. And how did we get to that? Well, this was the inspiration piece, and as soon as I saw this, it was another one of, oh, I really need to make an actual quilt like that. So pretty simple background with different greys and black, and then all these little, just I guess kind of simplistic shaped monsters. So how did we get to cats? Well, initially my thought was these monsters in particular remind me of the Monstrosity line by Sasa, and I have a few papers left from that. Not a whole lot, but a few. And it was one of those sort of lines that I thought, well, I'll just have to, when I get around to finding the particular hard drive that all the Tall Crafty Dude's pictures from when he was a small crafty dude were on, I'll have to just find something when he was little, because it's a juvenile line. But I remember having a discussion with somebody in a Facebook group saying, sort of joking, that his current behaviour, what with being 15 and all, sort of monster themed layouts might actually not be inappropriate. And I remembered I had these photos. I printed them in 2 sizes, and he's dropped his hood on his hoodie, and clearly the expression on the cat's face is rather apt. And so the whole story is about how these photos came about and what his dad said to him in order to take a photo, a nice photo in inverted commas, and this is what he got. So I thought, yeah, monster would apply kind of to both of them in this sort of scenario. So how are we going to do this? Last month it was a fairly literal interpretation, and I didn't want to do it like this, sort of squares with a monster in each square. Also partly because they would probably end up being covered up, and all the effort with drawing or tracing a monster, and I'd probably end up going to the silhouette, because Sarah knows what I'm like with trying to draw things freehand. When I first thought about this collection, there was, which one of these papers? It was this paper that I was kind of had in my mind, except when I imagined it, for some reason I thought that this strip of monsters was on this side, and so I had this image of having a strip of monsters and then having the rest just grey and black patchwork. And the grey and black patchwork works pretty well, because that's basically all the colour that there is here, and the monsters provide just that nice bit of colour, while the rest of it being helping that photo stand out. So my options were to leave it like this and put the grey squares across here. It would end up probably having to still have a border because it doesn't go to the edge, but what I didn't notice at first is that this sort of ends up being a bit pyramidal, that the squares are not going to line up exactly. They would either have to sort of go a little bit further each time. Once it really threw me seeing them on the right hand side instead of the left. I don't know why, but it's just when you have something in your mind and then something happens and you can't figure out how to sort of come back from that. I hadn't actually figured out on which side to put the photos. I thought I'd put them on this side. The direction of the photo is really neither here nor there, but that's okay. Other options would be to do the squares and then put just a strip of this paper, sort of cut a strip, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I mean, this is my enormous stack of blacks and greys, and there's scraps and all sorts of stuff. The reason I've got so many is in part because greys are not created equal. Some of them are warm, some of them are cool, some of them have white kind of patterns, others have cream. I had an idea, no, not that one. What was it? Ah, this. Fortunately I have 2 sheets of this, and so what I thought was to maybe put my strip on this side and then do my squares here. That, of course, this being curved, also gives a similar problem. So the choices I have are either to kind of put it like this and not have them as circles, but which would still look quite nice, or go around with a craft knife and just slit those bits and then slide underneath. Haven't figured out which approach to do yet. What I need to do now is to get everything chopped up and then see where to go from there. I've got a pile of squares here. I ended up having to go back and cut more because I underestimated the first time. I figured out that I need roughly 54. Since it's not going to be an even number, what I did was I ruled some crosshairs down the middle of the page, and so if I sort of start in the middle and work outwards and then the end two get cut off, it looks a lot more natural, I guess you could say. The way I'm going to sort of adhere them is I'm going to tack them down lightly and then stitch with white thread straight through the middle, and so the edges will be standing up. I don't know how many I've got here. I know it's more than 54. I'm just going to do the lot and not think about it. That way it gives me a little bit of flexibility to mix the colours through the way I want them. Let's get onto it. Okay, now that we're done with those, I want to arrange them, and I want to make sure that I include the patterns that are related to cats, because I had some cat print papers. I think there's maybe 3, so just make sure that those are present, and then figure out, get a good mix of all the others and just keep the balance. What I should have done was I should have inked this one too. I'm going to tack them down as I go, and that will still allow me to move them around. Okay. Just the teeny tiniest little bit. And I want them to line up sort of, there's a point where the circles intersect, and if I make that the very edge, then none of the cream will show, and I'm just eyeballing the middle. Now I want to mix some of these up. I probably should have sorted out what's what, but that's okay. It'll just take a little bit longer. So what I've done is I have cut out the photos. These ones, they were so close together there was no border in the middle, so I cut them without a border and then matted them on just a scrap of grid paper I found in the scrap box. These ones do have a border. I am leaning at this point toward the smaller ones. I'm going to put some layers underneath, but I want to have as much of this showing. Obviously I have put it through the sewing machine. I'm going to leave these little tails. I do more often than not because they sort of add texture and a bit of a crazy chaotic feel. The sewing's not perfect, it's fine with that. I mean, the whole story's a bit like that. I've grabbed a few bits of paper from the scrap box. I need something to journal, and so what I'm thinking at this point is to put a couple of mats under it. I picked blue. There's quite a lot of this. I guess it's an aqua, but it's towards the blue spectrum, and I quite like that, and I definitely want to pick up on the orange. There is a little bit of orange here, but mostly because the logo on his hoodie, his favourite hoodie, is orange, so something like that. Trimmed down obviously. Do maybe a title there, and then that will lead straight into the journaling. So the title is effectively the first line of the journaling, and then figure out where the embellishments are going to go, which I have pulled a whole lot of. So I've got a ton of stickers. The only monster I think I want to bring in is this guy and his felt. And he is, I mean, look how well he goes. It looks like he was just made for this project. I'll probably pull in a couple of the other felt pieces as well, just so it's not all isolated and weird looking. There's a bunch of cat stuff here, so I'll put a little bit of cat stuff. So, title. A whole bunch of different stickers. I thought about these ones. I keep pulling these out and they've got this silver stripe. It's not holographic, it's just silver. And I'm probably going to have to commit soon with the photo. I don't want it like that. I imagined it always like this. But did I imagine it off the grid or on the grid? Now, just make sure I've got enough room for the title. Yeah, that should be alright. Okay, let's see, glue dots. So I'm going to use these permanent ones. They're really, I love the dispensers. Unfortunately, they're not refillable, but it makes life so much easier. And you can use the little wheel or your finger just to advance it. I think these are like the minis and micros, I'm guessing, because they're the permanent ones, but they're big. So what did he say? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, they really, really want to stick. Something like that, maybe. Alright, I'm just going to place it and we'll get the title happening. And the title is a slight nod to a layout that Sarah did about her nephew poking faces, and the thing is that the same sort of thing, same but different I guess you could say, happened over here. Alright, I'm going to use these peas. I'm probably going to have to put tiny glue dots on this. Just wondering, this shelf just, it looks weird. Well, I might have to switch these around just in terms of which one's taller, because it's not, I think with the title it's going to work better if like this. I might put a label behind that and make him a bit more legible that way. I was thinking I would go with a light cream, and I have a few sheets of these. I think these are from the Midway. I also have these chipboard ones. I'll do orange because I would have chosen the blue. I've got a tiny little bit of blue left, but not really enough. Okay. This is a job for micro glue dots. Sorry about that, the camera decided to power off when I was up to the whole journaling bit, so I picked a journaling card out of two, I wrote it down twice with grey pen because once it wasn't quite dark enough, but I didn't want it to be completely black. So I think I'll just sort of stick it in like this, can be a bit wonky as well, and then figure out the whole embellishment thing. Yeah, okay, I'll just use glue dots for that too. If you want to read the journaling better, there will be pictures on my blog, and I'll link all the links to my blog, and all my socials will be in the description box. So I would love it if you headed over there and visited me. Okay, that's that. Right, so I think the way I'm going to approach the embellishments is start off with the biggest ones, the ones that I want the most, and then sort of get smaller and smaller. Because if I pull out all the stickers that I want to use and I think I'll use, I'll always end up with more and then left over, and then I have to put them away. Find the right sheet and all of that sort of thing. So I think these guys were the ones that I wanted to use the most. Sorry about the packaging. Now they're not very youthful. Okay, let's see. They look like they're sticky on the back, but I think I'm going to add my own adhesive anyway. But the good thing is I can just cut them out and move them around. So that's the guy that I want the most. He needs to go in a prominent position. But sort of something like that. Then there are 3 stars. I probably only need just 2 more things. I definitely want at least one other element, because I think it'll just look funny without. Actually, if I use the ones with stars, there is a packet of stars from Cocoa Vanilla. Now I'm probably not going to use that one because that looks like a brownie colour and I haven't used that, so that also is going to help me eliminate the decision on whether or not to use wood grain. And there was one dinosaur that I wanted to use and he was brown, and he's not gonna, yeah, didn't make the cut. Okay, embellishment groupings. Let's see, could do a smallish one. Well, actually I've got quite a bit of room here. Next I want to find those not journaling cards. There's a bunch of die cuts and some of them have really great phrases. I thought about this dinosaur initially, but it's just, yeah, no, not going to work. See, a lot of these, I pulled them out initially because of the colour, but mostly because of the phrase. So that's just, yeah, that is really good. What else is here? There was a skull on one of the sticker sheets, so I might pull that one out. Because that's kind of, well, it's very much this guy anyway. 100% boy, black heart. I don't want anything too lovey-dovey. Not on this one. There are moments for that. This isn't one of them. Okay, let's start messing about with some of these. Okay, we've done the majority of all the embellishment stuff. I've just got some little bits to finish with. Don't know about these cats. They're from Daisie, and I've been wanting to use them on something ever since I bought them. Oh, nice. They're on a clear sheet. I'm thinking it might just be too random, even though it's clearly, we've got just a very slight, a lot of the cat stuff's been covered, but there's a little bit here, a little bit there, that, I mean, I guess if you look close enough, maybe a head, a cat's head. Is that really, this one, he looks really kind of grumpy here in this one, and there's somewhere to put him. We'll just stick him here. Yeah. There we go. That's the catty touch. That'll do it. Okay, we've got cameras and we've got these stickers. Not stickers, stars. They might be overkill. I'm hoping not. Oh, they're not on a clear sheet. I do like the shiny black though. If I put one black star here, here and here, and then I could put just some other smaller black dots, maybe that's what I'll do, because that will stand out. The question is, I need to reattach the adhesive. No, it's alright. That'll do for that. At least these are going to be on a clear sheet. I think it's going to be overkill, but maybe in just one spot. I might actually pop the camera up just to make it stand out just that little bit more. So I think it needs it, because then it doesn't look like it's some weird continuation. You only need a couple in each area. This one needs the smallest ones. Well, here's October's Quilters vibe done and dusted. So this is my interpretation. Is it exactly how I imagined? No. Am I happy with it? More or less. It's not, you know, there are things that I do differently next time. Like I probably wouldn't use this border. I just get a piece of cardstock that I wasn't a huge fan of and put the grey all the way. Thank you so much for watching, and please make sure you visit the other girls, Daisie, Sara and Christy. I will link their channels in the description box, and so you can go and see what they've made, and I will link the blog post as well where you can see more detailed photos and read the journaling and all that sort of stuff. Thanks again for watching, and I'd really appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button and like any videos that you like, and hope to see you again soon. Bye!